What is going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. A couple weeks ago, I picked up a box for $20 that had a ton of really cool 16-bit stuff in there. Super Nintendo games. There was a retro duo, and there was this SEGA Genesis Model 3, which is really the reason why I bought the box. There was also a really nice Super Nintendo game in there, Supernova, but I knew to get a SEGA Genesis for Model 3 for 20 bucks was a hell of a deal. And it also came with two first-party 6-button controllers, which I've already cleaned those. This episode, we're really going to focus on this little guy. It does work. It is a little dirty, you can see there. We are going to add this to the collection, so it's very important that we tear it down, we completely clean it out, and then we'll reassemble it. And yeah, we'll get it looking good. So sit back, have a moon pie, and enjoy this episode of Odds and Ends. Genesis Model 3 Teardown. Alright guys, there it is, the old SEGA Genesis Model 3. Yeah, today, like I said, we're going to tear this thing apart and clean it up. Let's take a look. You can see it's kind of dirty right in there. All through those little cracks and crevices. All that kind of stuff. So we're going to take this apart and clean it. But first, I just wanted to give you guys some perspective. Maybe you've never seen a SEGA Genesis live and in person, or maybe the Model 3 here wasn't released in your region. So slide the Model 2 in there, slide the Model 1 in there, and you can kind of get a comparison, right? Like, it's basically as big as the circle part on the Model 1. And, you know, for some more perspective, here's a PlayStation game. Basically, it's about the size of a jewel case. So, yeah, pretty small console. There's nothing wrong with this one. It actually works great. And I'm thinking about replacing it on the shelf with my Model 2. But, yeah, let's go ahead and tear this thing down. Okay, so let's get to work on the old Genesis Model 3. Guys, this is a very stripped down version of the SEGA Genesis. There's not a lot to it. There's no working parts. Or no moving parts. This may be like the fastest console teardown in the history of console teardowns. It doesn't even have an LED light when you turn the power on. There's just an orange sticker under there, kind of reminiscent of a TurboGrafx 16. So all we're going to need to do our teardown is a couple of Phillips head screwdrivers. I always like to keep a couple extra screwdrivers and stuff on the side, just in case you need a flathead to, you know, pry something out or whatever. But on the bottom, there's 4 screws, one on each side there. We just take those out. We've already done that. There they are. Just like with every other console teardown, we're going to separate the top from the bottom. So we got a little rust right there. We're going to start on the top part first. So we'll flip that bad boy over. And just like the SEGA Genesis Model 2 or the Nintendo 64 or any of the Super Nintendos, anything like that, the button you just push it in, push it straight through. So there's that one. Now, when we get to the cartridge slot, these things are spring loaded. You can actually take these springs out. I don't recommend taking them out. You can just clean right around it. The only other part is there's a screw right here, and then a bracket that goes over the reset button assembly. All you gotta do is take that screw out, and the whole thing will come apart. All right, so we've taken that screw out that goes right there. Remember, that's a silver screw, small silver screw. This thing, like I said, just pulls right out. So that's our top part, ready to be cleaned. We slide over the bottom. Let's take a look at it real quick. First thing you'll notice and want to keep track of, there are 2 silver screws right here. Right? So the rest of the screws are just all little tiny black screws. There's one right there. One there, one there, one there, and then one right there on the side. And then we've got 2 on the side of the cartridge port, or the cartridge slot. So just remember to put those there. Those are a little bit longer screws, so just keep that in mind. So let's get these screws out of there. Okay, we've got the screws out of it, and I need to make a correction. Down here there were 2 silver screws. You only need to take out this silver screw, as this one is attached to the actual board and doesn't go all the way through to the you know, through the shielding and into the plastic. So once we've got those screws out, Just want to show you a comparison. These are the longer screws that came out of the cartridge port side. So like right there. So just remember you put those back in there. And guys, that's basically it. All you're going to do is you're going to take the shielding off. We'll wash that. The board will come out. We won't wash that. The bottom shielding will come out. There we go. We'll wash that. And there's the bottom. And we'll wash that. Oh yeah, look at that. Doesn't that look scrumptious? Alright guys, we will get this thing cleaned and we will put it back together in a very, very expedient order. Keep this video short. That's what I'm talking about. Alright guys, we got this thing dried, cleaned, and ready for assembly. So first thing we're going to do, put the bottom heat shielding in. It only goes in one way. Now the board, you kind of have to push through the cartridge ports right there on the front. Just kind of slide it in there like that. And then it should just fall right into place. The top. Yep, you guessed it. Just goes right on top. We'll get the screws put around in there. The top part here, you can see it's nice and clean. We flip it over. The power button just snaps right into place. The reset button, just set it in like that, and then put that silver screw right back in there. So we'll get this whole thing screwed back together, and then we'll shine it up real good. Okay, so here it is, Model 3 SEGA Genesis, cleaned, put completely back together. But we want to give it that shine, you know, that shine that we give our SEGA consoles. Any console that's black, you can use some of this, little WD-40 action. If you've got some Pledge works too. I just don't happen to have any. But take a paper towel, spray that on there. And then what you want to do, you just want to sort of blot it in there a little bit. If you don't, you're going to leave streaks on your console and you're going to have to do it again. So basically all you're going to do is you're going to take that, you're going to wipe it over the console. Now ideally, you're going to get like, you know, in the cartridge slot and, you know, all the way around it and on the bottom. Just make sure that you do that. Give it a nice wipe right there. There we go. I'll get the other sides after the video, but yeah, give that console that nice fresh out of the box shine. And guys, that's gonna do it. That is a SEGA Genesis Model 3 teardown. So, all right, power on. See you guys next time.